Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us. We're up and running on Super Talk TV. That's on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. But YouTube and Rumble are the big ones. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. I'm not salty at all that Dan uninvited me to the crisscross handoff this morning. In case you were wondering, don't worry about it. I'm not upset. I'm not. I didn't take it personally. I did take it. I took it a little personal. I took it. Here's what happened. So then, it wasn't even like I was uninvited. I became the errand boy. Did you know that?
Did you have to get coffee or water or something?
Oh my gosh. I had to go let her in.
Oh gosh.
Sam was like, "Hey, are you here?" And immediately I was like, "Oh, so the guest canceled, and now you want me back? Is that how this is gonna work? Because I'm sorry, boys, I already have plans." And they said, "Actually, no, she's just locked out outside. Can you let her in?" And I said,
"Did you feel insignificant and small at that point?"
I said, "I will begrudgingly let her in, not for you jokers, but for her." Because we have a heat advisory going on, and it's just not safe.
It's a little toasty.
You know? I said, it's just not safe. But I was very upset. Very upset. In fact, I roasted Dan the whole time. If you had heard our off-air conversation, I don't know if we'll ever have another crisscross handoff after that. I'm just letting you know.
I noticed he didn't ask you to join the conversation.
I noticed that too. What's the deal?
Yeah.
What's the deal? I don't know. I feel like I could have brought some value. Maybe that's what he was worried about. Anyway, no, I thought it was a good interview. I'm obviously joking. I love Dan. We got a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of stuff that I want to get into, up to and including the surrogacy battle that has been taking place in Texas. That is a wild story. So we're definitely going to dive into that. We're also going to talk about what you get when you elect Democrats. Just last week, five high-profile Democrats. Was it 5 or was it 6? It was 6. My mistake. Were either charged, indicted, or convicted in some pretty high-profile crimes, including, maybe you remember the guy from Lawrence, Massachusetts, the mayor that doesn't speak English. Lawrence, Massachusetts, Brian DePena. He was charged with stealing COVID-era money. And it's so funny. He's walking out of court, and I don't know. Maybe we're laughing to keep from crying. Maybe that's what I'm doing. So he's walking out of court, and he's got his handlers with him, and the media is there. It's WCVB, News Channel 5 in Boston. I have a fun story about them. So WCVB, News Channel 5 in Boston, they're like, "Sir, do you have any comments?" And his handler literally looks at the camera and says, "He doesn't speak English." It's like, what? What are we doing? Why is this happening? So my fun story about WCVB 5, I almost got fired from radio one time. And it was because I was working at the hip hop station, and I was working for Ramiro Torres, the freaking Puerto Rican. And he loved interrupting live shots of local news. So I was the intern at the time. So I was the guy that got tasked with interrupting live shots of local news. And it wasn't like the dude with the hood that would do the F right and the P kind of thing. It was a little bit more classy than that. But the Red Sox were in the World Series at the time, and they were playing the Colorado Rockies. So Ramiro had the funny idea, because they were doing this big story. They were at, I think it was a Dick's Sporting Goods store. They were like, all they're talking about is how Red Sox Nation is on fire. He's like, go down there and interrupt their live shot and tell them that tell them that you're Rockies fans. So I did. And here's the funny part. The news director over at the channel had already gotten with our program director and said, "Can you please stop having Ramiro interrupt live shots for bits on the radio?" And he was like, "Okay, I'll tell him." He's like, "No more interrupting live shots for bits on the radio." So Ramiro sent me down there to interrupt this live shot.
As one does.
As one does. But here's the funny part. He didn't air it because they only told him to stop interrupting the live shots for bits on the radio. So he said, but it wasn't a bit on the radio.
It was just for fun.
It was a side quest.
Just personal enjoyment.
They said, Chris, why would you do that? I said, Ramiro sent me down there. It was one of my tasks for the day. Go interrupt the news. So I did what any soldier would do.
You do what you're told.
You know what I mean? I was just following orders, sir.
Good soldiers follow orders.
And they literally said to me, they were like, you know who else was following orders? The Nazis. I was like, I don't know. Okay. I don't know how this is the same thing, sir. So I don't know. Oh yeah, Brian DePayne, you got me off. He got me off on a tangent. So anyway, a lot of Democrats being charged with crimes. We'll talk about that for sure. We will absolutely talk about that. We'll talk about the midterms, which is a big deal. We'll talk about the surrogacy case, which I think is a big deal. We'll also talk about the latest on Iran. Before we get to that, here's what's trending this morning. Indonesia earthquake over the weekend. 54 dead. Residents of eastern Indonesia awaited aid on Monday as rescuers prepared to comb collapsed buildings after a 7.7 magnitude earthquake. At least 54 dead, 500 homes damaged, thousands evacuated to tents, and nearly 1,600 aftershocks and a 5.6 quake Monday morning. It is chaos out there. We got Jared Kushner holding talks with Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi, after a rare meeting with Hamas in Cairo. This is a wild story. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is due to meet Donald Trump's envoy, Jared Kushner, today after Kushner and Trump Board of Peace envoy Nikolai Mladenov held a rare meeting with Hamas officials in Cairo. Hamas leader was present. It marks Kushner's second known Hamas meeting after October 2025 talks helped clinch a ceasefire and a hostage release. Trump says a phased disarmament deal was reached in late July, but Netanyahu has publicly rejected the plan ahead of an October election, according to Reuters. We also have Trump ordering the Pentagon to substantially reduce military exercises with South Korea. President Trump on Sunday instructed the Pentagon to substantially reduce joint exercise with South Korea, citing cost and Seoul's refusal to join actions against Iran. The annual Ulchi Freedom Drills with about 18,000 South Korean personnel are scheduled through August 27th and started Monday, South Korea's Joint Chiefs said. Trump highlighted his relationship with North Korea's Kim Jong-un, calling exercises inappropriate. The move comes amid disputes over defense cost sharing and a $350 billion investment deal tied to auto tariffs. This is according to Reuters. I think there's a little bit more happening behind the scenes there as well. I don't know if you go to World Outreach Church or not, but they had a South Korean pastor in. Christianity is being persecuted in that country. And there's a little odd thing happening there. They've opened up a lot of immigration with China. And if you are in South Korea for 4 months, right? If you hit the 4-month period, you're allowed to start voting in South Korean elections. And the country has shifted way more towards communism than ever before. And I think that's one of the underlying issues here. So it's a story that we're keeping an eye on. Also, everybody understands South Korea was once ran by a witch cult, right? Mason nods his head. We've done this story. Obviously. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like they were ran by a witch cult. The South Korean president at the time was arrested for being involved in the witch cult. Yeah. This is 2016. It was happening. It started really in the 70s. It was the Chow family and shamanistic influence. That's how they put it. I say witch cult, tomato, potato, right? Like if you say shamanistic influence, I feel like witch cult is also appropriate. A fringe religious cult leader who founded the Church of Eternal Life befriended Park Geun-hye in the 1970s after claiming he could channel the spirit of her assassinated mother. Then Choi Soon-sil Min-jae's daughter, who inherited his close spiritual bond with Park. And then in 2016, investigations revealed that then President Choi Soon-sil, I know I nailed it, who used her deep influence over President Park at the time to edit classified state speeches, view top-secret documents, and extort tens of millions of dollars from major corporate conglomerates. The revelation sparked massive public protest, led to Park Geun-hye's impeachment in December 2016, and resulted in Choi being sentenced to 20 years in prison on corruption and abuse of power charges. That was just 10 years ago. Just a decade ago, South Korea was being ran by a witch cult. So are you shocked that they are now being influenced by the commies? What's worse? I would think hit the mic. I would think communism is a little bit worse than a witch cult. Is that just me? Nobody's getting lined up against the wall when you're ran by a witch cult. Is that fair? You know you have a messed up country when you're like, I don't know, maybe the witch cult was a better option. And people are upset that we're cutting. We want to pull back on defense spending. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. Also, Hormuz shipping traffic capped as U.S. and Iran make competing control claims. Shipping traffic at the Strait of Hormuz fell below the monthly average, with 9 vessels transiting Thursday versus a daily average of 12 this month, and 130 to 140 before the war began on February 28th. The Strait is under Iran's control and management, Iran's Basij chief said Thursday, while the U.S. said it can maintain its naval blockade indefinitely and ratchet up economic pressure. 2 ADNOC vessels were reportedly attacked Thursday evening. Industry sources say a proposed Iran-Oman deal giving Tehran inbound control is not workable due to sanctions and insurance clauses. That's according to Reuters. That's kind of where we're going to begin today, the latest on Iran. Now that we're through the trending topics, we got through the witch cult. We talked about how I used to invade the news, and here we are. So President Trump over the weekend was asked what happens if Iran attacks? What happens if they attack during midterms? And he says, I'm not worried about midterms. I'll hit them 100 times harder.
100 times harder.
What if it's right before the midterms? Do you care?
Well, it could be, but people are looking at gasoline prices. That's all they're looking at. They like the fact that I'm stopping this lunatic nation from having an atomic bomb. If you look, they cannot have nuclear weapons.
That was the president over the weekend, Garden City, New York, speaking to Fox News. He had a big rally there for the Republican candidate for governor. During that rally, he also brought up gas prices again, which, I don't know, I think it's kind of telling. Like, it has infiltrated his inner circle at the very least, and now he is publicly making statements about the cost of gas. And I think that you need to keep the pressure on him. I think a lot of Americans view this war very, very, as very unpopular. It is a very unpopular war, no matter how you slice it. And a lot of it has to do with the cost people are paying at home. And President Trump tried to make the case that $4 for gas is the price of stopping Iran from a nuclear weapon.
So I just say this. So for you to pay a tiny little bit more for your gasoline, just remember, you're doing it so that a very evil country cannot have, a country really, it's the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world. We don't want to have them have a nuclear weapon. So remember that when you have to pay a little bit more, you're at $4. It's okay. I mean, it's, I'll never apologize. I did the right thing.
Are you cool with that? $4 gasoline to make sure that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon? 615-737-9986. We'll take some of your calls on the way. I got some more from President Trump on Iran that we'll bring to the table as well, including some statements from Scott Bessent, expected to announce some more sanctions against Iran as part of Operation Economic Fury. And we'll talk about the Strait of Hormuz, who really controls it. From there, we'll talk about the lies that the president says he's dealing with. CENTCOM responding to them about the deployment of USS Abraham Lincoln. Is it as bad as they say on that boat? All that and more on the way. It's 9:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
got the first release from Nashville's Winter Storm Commission. We'll tell you who they're placing blame on coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom down there in Jonestown. Couldn't make it in today, could you, Joan?
I could not.
Oh, I don't blame you. I would have done the show from home if that was an option.
It's too hot.
It's too hot. We can't risk your safety, your well-being. we need you. So headlines on the way in about 3 minutes. I was going through the YouTube chat. Paul on the YouTube chat. He's getting feisty. Said yet another reason not to like the Handyman show. Chris apparently doesn't know if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, 100-degree temperatures will feel like nothing and be the least of his problem. Then he said, these millennials are of the mindset that if it's not in their front yard, then it's no big deal. I just said, Paul, call in. I understand that we have midterms on the way, and if we have high gas prices and we lose the House and we lose the Senate, we're going to be taking it in the shorts over the next 2 years. And while I don't have the heartburn that I once did on the midterms, it's still an uphill battle. Are we reaping the benefit of the Democrats just openly being commies and losing their mind when it comes to some of their far left ideologies? Absolutely. Are we reaping the benefits of the redistricting wars and the number of seats that we picked up? Absolutely. It looks like we're going to get another 4 in Florida, and we got some in Tennessee, and all the different states. Yep, that absolutely releases some of that pressure. But we're still up against it. And I do feel like it's a little tone deaf of the president to say, well, $4 gas for no nuclear weapon, that's fine, when I don't necessarily think that we were going to get hit by a nuclear weapon from Iran at any point. I also would be roasting him. I like President Trump. And it's kind of ridiculous that we always have to have a disclaimer in front of this. I voted for the guy 6 times. I went out there and I campaigned hard for him for 2024. So, it just to have to put the disclaimer on is ridiculous. But if we don't get the gas prices down, if this war continues, if it turns into a quagmire and we lose the House and the Senate, we lose everything. We have a lame duck presidency for the next 2 years, and we're dealing with impeachment battles. So, you tell me, what is the biggest threat? Is it Iran and the nuclear weapon, or is it the commies that could take power? Also, if President Trump was President Kamala Harris, and they had told us well over a year ago that they completely obliterated Iran's nuclear program, and then the messaging today from President Kamala Harris was, we can't let them get a nuke, every single conservative in talk radio would be playing that clip over and over and over again, saying, you lied to the American people. You can get mad at me, but that would be the reality today. We'll talk a little bit more about the Iran war on the other side. The phone lines are open for you if you want to weigh in. 615-737-9986. I told Paul to call in. You think Paul will call? Call in, Paul. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And as the memo of understanding expires today, the Trump administration is setting the stage to shift its war campaign toward a more economic-focused effort aimed at choking Tehran into submission rather than relying on bombs alone. Here's Trey Yingst at Fox News.
And we know that naval blockade is costing the Iranian regime hundreds of millions of dollars each day. And this economic pressure, coupled with the sanctions that are expected to be announced this week by the U.S. Treasury, it's adding more domestic pressure on the regime and those officials in Tehran to change their behavior, possibly come back to the negotiating table, as a lot of rhetoric is still floating around the Middle East.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying the U.S. plans to ramp up economic pain on Iran, calling the new moves, saying that the new moves will be financially equivalent to a bombing campaign. The Nashville Commission, tagged with assessing the response to the devastating January storm, is out with its first report. report. The commission, which is led by former Tennessee Governor Phil Bredesen, says there were lots of problems. It concluded that Nashville's response was strong and tactical, but it blames NES and the City of Davidson County Office of Emergency Management for serious flaws in the planning, staffing, coordination structures, information management, unified communications, and organizational capacity. In particular, the report said despite explosive population growth, NES neglected to modify and upgrade its emergency response planning. And Nashville actress Hayden Panettiere's death on Sunday has shined a spotlight on some of her more recent revelations. 3 months ago, she spoke on a podcast about an incident on board a boat that was out to sea. A so-called trusted friend, she said, dragged her below deck and literally put her in bed with a naked, very famous, older British rock star.
So it took me, I was shocked. It took me by surprise. And it was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back.
She was 18 at the time. She never named the rocker or the friend. Hayden Panettiere was 36 years old. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Handy here from my friends at United Structural Systems. And when you're starting to notice cracks in your walls, uneven floors, or a driveway that's starting to sink, this isn't just a home issue, it's a peace of mind issue. And who you're going to call to fix it absolutely matters. And this is why I'll recommend USS every single time. They've been doing work the right way since 1994 right here in Tennessee. You don't stay in business that long with shady practices, and these guys don't do shady practices. No scare tactics, no quick fixes, just real inspections, honest answers, and solutions that are built to last. So whether it's foundation repair, crawl space issues, or concrete leveling for your driveway or patio, USS is going to use engineered systems designed for long-term performance, not temporary patches. And here's what stands out to me. If you don't need the work, that's what they tell you. And if you do, they'll show you exactly why, what their plan is before anything gets started. They're always offering some great financing options because sometimes waiting makes the problem more expensive. So don't wait. Get it fixed today. Pay for it later. Call USS at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems, online at USSTN.com. 37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial. You can join us on YouTube or Rumble. I was getting called out in the YouTube chat by Paul, so I told Paul to call in, and he did. What's up, Paul? How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. At least I'm not being vaporized yet. But
okay, why are you upset with me, Paul?
Well, I'm not upset. It's more like disappointed, I guess, because
you're cutting to the core of me. You're not mad. You're just disappointed.
Yeah, because your view is, I mean, it's a real short-term view, like focusing on the midterms instead of like the big global picture. I'd rather not be nuked, but at the same time, Trump is claiming that Iran's nuclear program is completely decimated, but somehow the Navy has been at the bottom of the sea, but somehow they're still controlling the strait. But then Rubio comes out and says, "Oh, the strait doesn't even matter to us." And I would assume that means because we have a lot of domestic oil production, energy production, which begs the question, why are oil prices so high? And it almost seems like some kind of market manipulation to put the Democrats back in power.
Well, can I tell you why I don't think looking at midterms is a short-term view? It's because if we lose the midterms, then we're dealing with impeachment proceedings, right?
Well, yeah, I know. All that's happened before. It's going to happen again, sure.
But then we could be paving the way for a Democrat president in 2028. And if they hold the House and they hold the Senate, but if they hold the House and they hold the Senate and they get the presidency, they're going to nuke the filibuster day one. And then we never get our hands back on the levers of power.
Well, I still think of that as a short-term view, but
you think if the Democrats got their hands on power, the presidency, the House, the Senate, that saying that we would never get our hands back on power is a short-term view when they would amnesty 20 million illegal aliens at least? D.C. and Puerto Rico would be states. They would get rid of the Electoral College. They would pack the Supreme Court.
We did get it back from the Democrats when Trump got reelected.
But they tried to nuke the filibuster the last time, and the only thing that was standing in their way was Manchin. He's not there anymore.
Right.
He's no longer there.
Right, and I'm just thinking in terms that the Democrats have been so extreme in all of their policies, their public positions, that especially after the redistricting and everything, I don't know if it's going to be so easy for them to get back and to win the seats again.
I've talked to some people in the movement, and they're like, yeah, no, it's going to be an uphill battle for the Democrats. I've talked to other people in the movement that says we're going to absolutely take it in the shorts and that they need to move all of their money just to the Senate to try and hold that because the House is essentially lost. What do you think is the bigger threat to the country today as it stands right now? Is it a nuclear weapon from Iran, or is it the communist Democrats taking power?
Well, in the short term, it would be the midterm elections, true. And like I said, I'm still not 100% why, if the Iran nuclear program has been decimated, why is it still being, used as a prop?
Yeah, it seems like it's mixed messaging, right? Everything's great, but we're also negotiating, and we already won. And negotiations are going good, and then they fall apart, and then we already won.
Yeah, and I agree with some people that said we should have just gone in, full force, first couple of months and just obliterated everything.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like, we're here now, so I think obliterating everything is probably the quickest move to resolving it. This is why which is why I've said prosperity nuke them. But I mean, I feel like we're in a no-win situation. I appreciate you calling in, Paul, though. Thank you, man. Let's go to Tony in Nashville. What's up, Tony?
Hey, Chris, what's going on, man?
Tony, man, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. My wife likes me again today.
I love it.
Well, I keep telling y'all, Chris, don't worry about this. God got it covered. I'm going to ask you a question and see where your head is. Do you honestly think that God is going to allow Ishmael to conquer Isaac? Or do you know who those two people are?
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I mean, you look at what's going on in this country. It's like, don't you think that God might feel that we are due for some punishment when you have states like Massachusetts allowing abortion up until birth?
He's already done allowed. I mean, look what he done. He done abolished abortion, all these things. You still got some renegade states that's doing that. But y'all don't need to worry about them. People, y'all are not giving the American people credit. They are smarter than what you think they are. They already know. They recognize that the biggest proxy that the Iranians have is the Democratic Party. That's what they're holding off for. Is the midterm elections. That's the reason why the Democrats is going off like they are, is because they're not getting paid. They saying if you can't deliver for us, we're not gonna pay you till you deliver for us. Mark my word, and I'll call you back, even if it don't happen. But it's gonna happen.
All right,
we're
Tony.
gonna have a super majority after the midterms.
Hey, Tony, I pray you're right, and I think that we can hope for the best, but let's prepare for the worst. And I appreciate your call as always, man.
All right, man.
All right, God bless. Let's go to James in Lebanon. What's up, James?
Hey, brother. Yeah, I believe we are our own worst enemy, and I'm talking about the enemy within, which we all know who it is. This large portion of the American people that hate the American people, hate themselves, hate the country. The only way we're going to be brought down is from within. This threat in Washington, which threatens us all, is a much bigger threat than any one of our adversaries could ever hope to match, in my opinion.
And that's kind of where I lean. I think that these commies and these Democrats are a far greater danger to this country than Iran currently.
I agree with you, because you can't touch them. You can't just go after. We can go after Iran. You can't just go after Americans that want communism and are bored with freedom and liberty. That's a whole different monster you're messing with there.
Yeah, I hear you, man, and I appreciate the call. Let's go to Jeff in Franklin. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, how you doing? Sorry about that, Chris.
No, you're good, man. What's up?
Yeah, I think that I agree. I've been listening to everybody, and I've been listening to you too. And I kind of have one little caveat to that. I think the Republicans are the problem, and I'll tell you why. In my opinion, they're not working together. And if you look back when Ryan and McConnell did the same thing on the Obamacare, and McCain came in and voted against it because he didn't like Trump.
He thumbs it down.
I don't care about what these people. I mean, to me, the Republicans are being narcissists. If they can't see that 80% of the people want the SAVE Act, which would save our elections, and then there would be a pure election cycle, and they can't block the filibuster, and like you just said a few minutes ago, the Democrats are going to do it immediately. And I believe that.
Well, it's not even like a right-wing talking point. Like, this is what Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, all of these jokers have said.
Yeah. So the Republicans are the problem. I mean, right now, they're in charge. And so we could say the communists and the Democrats, socialists and the Democrats, but they're not in charge. The Republicans are in charge. They could have got this stuff done. And they're either narcissists or they're dumb if they're not passing that SAVE Act. And that's the only thing that's going to go through.
Yep.
And we deserve it if unfortunately, we're probably going to suffer if the Democrats get in their office.
I'm with you. And we know that they're doing it. Like, we know illegal aliens are on the voter rolls. There's a bunch of states that won't even turn over their voter rolls. Todd Blanche was talking about it this weekend. I got the audio that I'll play later in the show. Todd Blanche was going off. They won't even give him the voter roll data. In New Jersey, they had 6,600 illegal aliens on the voter rolls. They had hundreds of illegal aliens voting in their elections. It's like, you think that that's limited to New Jersey?
Yeah, I don't think that's limited at all. I mean, we all know, we look around, even in our state, every landscaping crew, every at home building sites, you could see it. I'm in the field, and I'm driving around, you'll see.
Yep.
And, those guys, they are able to manipulate the system to get that, and the taxes. And another guy you had on a couple days ago, he said something about $18 an hour when he was in construction 20 years ago. Well, that's because of that lower, income where the illegals are in here working in those jobs. So, but they're going after the wrong people. They need to make the people that are running the businesses accountable and punish them to where it's not worth it. If there's a consequence, then your migration problem partially will clean up on its own.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And I appreciate the call, Jeff. Call in anytime, man. Back on the Iran front, President Trump did say that he has a back channel to IRGC officials in Iran. There has been discussion about who exactly is he negotiating with, because we'll get fluffy, warm, fuzzy feelings from good negotiations, and then another individual will come out and be like, we're not even negotiating. So who are you talking to? Well, we're hearing over the weekend from Trey Yingst that there are backdoor channels between the Trump administration and IRGC officials in Iran, more of the hardliners.
Yeah, the president posted on True Social, and he was very clear that ensuring that Iran never has a nuclear weapon is the number one priority for the United States. I asked the president about the communication with the Iranians, and interestingly, President Trump confirmed to Fox News that there is a back channel with the IRGC. These are the hardline officials inside of Iran, and that the United States and officials in Washington are speaking directly with IRGC officials in Iran. This is another indication that the Trump administration is not just dealing with the political echelon in Tehran, but also some of these hardliners that have launched attacks against U.S. forces and, of course, in the Strait of Hormuz. But the critical headline here is the president's patience as it relates to dealing with the Iranians. He said there is no timeline. And so this 60-day window that is expiring today is largely irrelevant in terms of the president's thinking as it relates to Iran. And again, he indicated the United States has a lot of mid-level weapons to use if they're needed in the future. But
if the weapons are needed, we can and will use them. This is outside of the depleted weapons that have been reported. Also, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is expected to announce some devastating sanctions against Iran as part of Operation Economic Fury moving forward. I mean, it's not to be missed that Iran's economy has been absolutely shellacked during all of this. So more sanctions, maybe that does put the pressure on them. That's what they were talking about over the weekend.
And we know that that naval blockade is costing the Iranian regime hundreds of millions of dollars each day. And this economic pressure, coupled with the sanctions that are expected to be announced this week by the U.S. Treasury, it's adding more domestic pressure on the regime and those officials in Tehran to change their behavior, possibly come back to the negotiating table, as a lot of rhetoric is still floating around the Middle East.
I hope it does change things. I hope that more sanctions does create an opportunity for negotiations. And, like we said, a lot of the American public, their memory is goldfish status. Not you guys listening here on Super Talk, but you know who I'm talking about. If they can negotiate a good deal, if we can get a peace deal, if gas prices can come down, I do still feel pretty good about the midterms. We'll see what happens. And we'll be paying attention to this story on sanctions coming from Scott Bessent later on this week. It's definitely going to be something that we have our eyeballs on. And we'll bring you all the updates right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, we are going to switch topics. Have you been following the surrogacy battle coming out of Texas? Well, it's really focusing around 3 states: Texas, Alaska, and California. Who is McKenna West? And why should she be treated as a hero? We'll talk about that on the way. It's 9:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Times are tough. Absolutely, I agree. Now, if you need a new truck or a minivan, maybe an SUV, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection, terrific pricing as well. Mid-10 Ford, they've been around for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. They can help you save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Now, Mid-10 Ford, I like to say that they're a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there at Mid-10 Ford. You can get it serviced. They have a body shop as well. So you want a brand new or a pre-owned vehicle, you can check out all of the great deals at their website.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And as the kids are heading back to school, it is the perfect time to make sure that your home is ready for anything as well. And right now, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is helping you save with their biggest back-to-school offers of the season. Right now, you schedule that HVAC maintenance or complete any HVAC repair, and you're going to get a free dryer vent cleaning. That's an added safety and one less thing to do on your to-do list. If you're thinking about a new system, you purchase a high-efficiency HVAC unit, you'll be entered to win Busy Bee's Healthy Hive giveaway. That's a $1,500 sponsorship for the local school of your choice. Imagine the hand sanitizer and the glue sticks that you could provide. Plus, qualified teachers, faculty members, or staff members can receive a free Beehive membership when a customer purchases or renews one and gifts it to them. You can grease the wheels, help the kid get that extra credit with a Beehive Club membership. Plus, if you need plumbing work, get a $500 gift card with qualifying whole home repipes or mainline replacements. And as always, they'll make it easy with approved credit. Enjoy 0% financing for 18 months. It's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Up ahead, while you want to drive a little more carefully when traveling through Nolensville, it's coming up at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. 57 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The next story we're going to talk about, it hits every political angle you could imagine. Left versus right, red states versus blue states, the spiritual battle happening inside this country. And what does it actually mean to be a hero? McKenna West, an Alaskan nurse, a single mother of two. She signed a contract with a surrogacy company and a Los Angeles couple through Worldwide Surrogacy Specialists. The contract included a standard clause allowing the intended parents to choose to abort the baby for a fetal anomaly. And spoiler alert, at around 20 weeks, the baby was discovered to have a fetal anomaly, HLHS, hypoplastic left heart syndrome. This is a serious congenital condition in which the left side of the heart is underdeveloped, and without intervention, infants will typically die within days or weeks. But with surgery, the baby will live. It's not going to be an easy road. It's kind of an uphill battle, but it's doable. And many people with this condition have gone on to live. So the parents of the baby said, that's too much for us. Terminate the pregnancy. That would have put McKenna in the position where she would have had to go to the abortion clinic. She would have had to sign the paperwork for consent. She would have had to sit through the procedure. And it was something that she said she couldn't do in good conscience. So what she did next is really where the story develops. She fled to a sanctuary state. Not the kind that you're thinking of, but a sanctuary state for the unborn. That state was Texas. This story's wild. We'll tell you even more on the way. Hang out with us. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, better watch it when you're driving in Nolensville. Police officers will soon begin boarding school buses along with the students so they can watch for drivers who violate driving rules around school buses. Their mission, they say, is not to monitor student behavior on the bus. The announcement didn't contain a date when they'll put that plan into action. A missing Nolensville man has been found dead. Nolensville police they had asked for the public's help in finding 35-year-old Luke Wiley on Saturday. He was last seen leaving his Ravensdown Drive residence on foot in the overnight hours. Police recovered his body from a nearby pond later that day. Police said no foul play is suspected at this time. Fang, back in the news. Newly declassified documents show that the FBI knew that former Congressman Eric Swalwell's girlfriend had potentially compromised him with sex, foreign interns, and illicit donations. And in fact, Christine Fang was being recruited to become an FBI informant when they learned of her mission with Swalwell. They even raided her home, but never charged her or Swalwell. It's being called a sneak attack by Democrats hoping to steal a Senate seat from Republicans. Primary voters in Alaska will see two Dan Sullivans on the Republican ballot tomorrow. Fox's Matt Fox says that is by design.
Dan J. Sullivan claims his campaign is for real, but he's being accused of running simply to confuse voters. President Trump even writing, "They did this to take votes away from our great senator of the same name. Democrats are trying to trick Alaskans."
That's Matt Finn. By the way, the Department of Justice is investigating possible fraud or conspiracy charges. And the Supreme Court has just rejected President Trump's petition to hear the case again over the $5 million payout to E. Jean Carroll. The former writer won a defamation lawsuit against President Trump, who was between presidential stints at the time. E. Jean Carroll was paid that money in July. That's the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Did you see these people in Washington, D.C. and their stupid chant?
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
So here's why this is dumb. Because Donald Trump sending in the National Guard is to stop the murders. Donald Trump is actually saving lives. Over the last 2.5 years, they have had 561 black people murdered in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump is sending in the National Guard to stop the crime. So Donald Trump is actually saving black lives.
It's 10:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. If you want to weigh in on the next topic, you're welcome to. 615-737-9986. That's the number to call. That's the number to text. We're already getting some spicy texts. We haven't even done the whole story yet. You can also weigh in on the chat, which is over there on YouTube. Hit like and subscribe while you're there. So here's what I'm just reading. Chuck texted in. He said, the lady knew what was in the contract. She's in breach of contract. She's legally liable for damages. I am pro-life. She can morally choose not to abort, but is responsible for legal judgment against her. 0152. I agree that saving the child is the right thing, but before I call her a hero, remember, she was having a kid and then selling it for money. I guess in this immoral time, that's the type of heroes you get. I get the whole surrogacy argument. I really do. I think it's awful, like to a certain extent. Like the selling a baby, that's the awful part, right? But there is that like silver lining where there are parents out there that have tried and tried and tried and miscarried and miscarried and miscarried, or they're dealing with infertility. And they just, whatever the case may be, they just can't get it done, and they're good people, and they want to have a baby for the right reasons. And I get that side of it too. My heart breaks. That's tough. If you're just tuning in, you don't know what we're talking about. We're going down the road of the story of McKenna West. Let me recap it for you in case you're just now joining us. Alaskan nurse, single mother of two. She signed a gestational surrogacy contract in 2025 with a Los Angeles couple, Omar Ahmed and Nasheen Gilkar. I did do a search to see if they were actually married because of the different last names. I couldn't confirm or deny whether they were married or not. I'm assuming they are, but I think that's besides the point for the story. They signed that contract with Worldwide Surrogacy Specialists. Worldwide Surrogacy Specialists, which is another rabbit trail to go down when we're talking about surrogacy. You understand that the Chinese are using this to their advantage to have American citizens and then raise them up in the ways of the CCP. We'll get there. But they signed the contract, and the contract included a standard clause for the intended parents to have the ability to terminate the pregnancy for a fetal anomaly. And around 20 weeks at that checkup, a fetal anomaly was discovered. Hypoplastic left heart syndrome, HLHS. This is a serious congenital condition in which the left side of the heart is underdeveloped. And if nobody does anything, then the baby's going to die within days or weeks. That's just the reality of it. Survival requires a series of staged open heart surgeries starting soon after birth, okay? And the surgeries are Norwood, which is done in the first few days or weeks of life, where surgeons rebuild the tiny aorta using pulmonary arteries so the right ventricle can pump out blood to the entire body. And they place a temporary shunt so some blood still reaches the lungs. And then around 4 to 6 months, there's a second surgery, Glenn. That's when they connect the large vein that brings blood back from the upper body directly to the lungs, taking work off that single ventricle. Then there's a third surgery, usually between 2 and 4 years old, where they connect the vein from the lower body directly to the lungs as well. After this, all the blue blood flows passively to the lungs, and the one working ventricle only has to pump red oxygenated blood to the body. These surgeries, it's important to point out, don't create a normal heart. They just don't. They create rearranged circulation that allows many children with HLHS to survive and grow, but it's important to point out that that doesn't mean that it's going to be smooth sailing, right? You can survive and you can grow, but it is a long road ahead of you. There's risk, but these kids live. So McKenna West is the surrogate in this situation, and she gets this devastating news. The intended parents get this devastating news. The parents then say, we're waving the white flag. We're going to terminate the baby. That's what we're going to do. Court filings from their side state that West, McKenna West, the surrogate, initially agreed and scheduled the appointment. But West later reversed course, citing moral and personal convictions. And she's described as saying that she couldn't live with herself if she had gone through with this. And she explained it from her perspective, what she was feeling. And I mean, I would just say put yourself in her shoes for a minute. This isn't an easy thing to deal with at all. You did sign up for it. It was in the contract. But to actually be there in that moment, there's different weight, right? Like it changes everything. Dealing in hypotheticals and what ifs is one thing. Dealing with the actuality is something completely different. And this is how McKenna West put it when she said that she refused the abortion. You want to give me a little audio there? Oh, it's only this happens from time to time where for whatever reason, if you play it from the internet and it's only the right channel that has audio, it doesn't work. So let me find another clip real quick because it's important to hear from her angle, her perspective, why she said no. Hold on, I should be able to find this. Here we go. So this is McKenna West when she decided that she couldn't do it. I believe she's talking with Live Action here. 1 second. Sorry about that. It's one of those things that you don't know until you hit the air.
In the surrogacy industry, because of what you've gone through and you're still going through, what do you hope that one thing is?
That's the wrong clip. I'll find it, but we'll get there. There's a lot more to this. So she says she can't do it. She can't sit through the abortion. She can't sign the paperwork. She can't put her heart through it. She can't morally deal with this. So a California court, then the courts get involved, and McKenna West completely cuts off contact with the intended parents. She then travels to Texas. Live Action, which is a pro-life organization founded by Lila Rose, helps her with the travel fees. They get her to Texas because Texas is a sanctuary state. Again, not for illegal aliens, but for the unborn. And while she's in Texas, she sought legal protection there. Texas recognizes the birth mother as the legal mother at birth in ways California does not, and abortion there is heavily restricted, as I'm sure you are aware. So a California court had already ruled the couple are the legal parents, not the surrogate, the intended parents. And West has no custody rights. And in Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton decided to intervene. He secured an emergency order requiring Dallas hospitals, UT Southwestern, and Children's Medical Center to provide life-sustaining care and keeping the baby in Texas pending further hearings. West petitioned for parentage and custody, saying these parents didn't even want the baby. They wanted to terminate the baby. You should give me custody of the child. It doesn't seem like that's going to be going through. The baby Gabriel, was born in Dallas on August 12th, it looks like. August 12th, August 13th. And the couple then obtained a restraining order from McKenna West barring contact or presenting herself as the mother. The parents currently have physical custody while the infant receives care. The legal fight continues across jurisdictions with a Texas hearing scheduled later in August. But a lot of people are making a lot of noise about this case, and it's been dominating the internet over the weekend. You have pro-life and conservative voices giving strong support for McKenna West, claiming that she is a hero, that she refused to abort the child with a treatable, even though serious, condition. And so she fled, she relocated for legal and medical protection, and the baby now has a fighting chance for life. Live Action, Texas Alliance for Life, similar groups are praising her. There are fundraisers on GiveSendGo raising tens of thousands quickly for her expenses after payments reportedly stopped and legal threats of repayment damages appeared. People are framing the contract as treating a disabled child as a defective product that can be discarded, which I get where they're coming from. I really do. But there is a lot of people that are emphasizing the signed contract, the signed agreement. The couple's heartbreak after medical consultations about lifelong suffering and West's alleged initial agreement, then breached by fleeing jurisdictions. Critics call the public campaign and Paxton's political move theater that turns a private medical tragedy into a campaign prop, especially given the fact that Ken Paxton currently has a battle with James Tallarico for the Texas Senate race. I don't necessarily know that that's what Ken Paxton's motivations here were, but some are saying that that's what his motivations were. I think even if that was his motivations, I think the right thing was done. Personally, that's just me. But many note that the case exposes a lot of issues with commercial surrogacy. And I think that's one thing that we can agree on. There are some good reasons for surrogacy. There's always the land of unintended consequences. And when you're forum shopping across states with conflicting laws, the difficulty of enforcing termination clauses once a viable pregnancy exists, financial pressure on surrogates, the emotional reality that a woman carrying a child often develops a protective bond regardless of genetics or contract, legal experts describe it as an anomaly that could push for legislative changes. Ken Paxton, over the weekend, did reveal that baby Gabriel is alive and he's receiving care after McKenna West refused to get that abortion. This was Ken Paxton over the weekend on Fox News.
How's baby Gabriel doing in your response to the parents?
Yeah, I think doing well. There's an upcoming surgery. I don't know exactly what day, but I know it's got to happen within the first week to save the baby's life. And then there'll be a couple of other surgeries, I think one from 4 to 6 months and another one that occurs 18 to 5 years, depending on how the baby's doing. But our goal was just to save the baby, make sure that the baby had the opportunity to get life-sustaining treatment, which everybody deserves, no matter what your age is, and that's what we fought for, and that's what we got. So I'm really pleased. I'm excited about this baby. I'm excited that the baby Gabriel is here on Earth and alive and well, and we're very optimistic about the future.
And
so I would pose a question to you. What do you think about McKenna West? She was threatened with a $250,000 lawsuit. She decided to save the baby anyway. The baby has a heart defect, a treatable, but a heart defect. Did she do the right thing? Is she a hero in this story? 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. The baby is alive, and the baby's receiving medical treatment in Texas now. The California parents who were the biological parents, they wanted to terminate this pregnancy. I wonder what happens down the road, because this kid is inevitably going to Google himself, right? What kind of heartache does that create when you find out that your parents wanted to kill you? What does that do to a minor? This is a question that I think needs to be answered. And the fact that Ken Paxton is being labeled as this being political theater, it's like, how does Ken Paxton decide the timing of all of this? Can he decide the timing of all of this? I don't think so. He was talking with Will Cain about this on Friday as well. And I think it's important to point out that, yes, it's a defect. It falls under the legal language of the contract, but it is treatable and it does have a high survivability rate.
That's all we wanted. all the medical care necessary that anybody would want, just the necessary medical care, whatever that is, provide it to the baby. Seems
Because
like a reasonable request.
He would need medical care immediately upon birth. He needed several surgeries. Children with this condition that he was born with, by the way, have a very high survivability rate, but they need these surgeries, and so your office steps in to ensure that no matter who has custody, the kid is getting the care.
Yeah, and so those surgeries, I think there's 3 of them. This is a new condition for me, but apparently the first one has to be done in the first 7 days. So my understanding that's coming, and then there are 2 other surgeries, and I don't know what the timing are, but we want to just make sure that the baby has the opportunity to have the medically necessary treatment so that it can live.
Now, I understand your office has stepped in for that simple purpose. Make sure the baby lives. That wasn't so simple just a few months into the pregnancy. And it does put the law, contract law, and the entire idea of surrogacy into question. What happens when you have a conflict between parents and a surrogate mother? Who gets to decide the future of that child?
It's a complicated issue because every state has different laws, and because it's such a new area, a lot of these laws are not caught up to things like this, caught up to reality. So the legislature in Texas and other states is going to have to think about this more broadly and think about the different nuances or different ways things can play out, and start figuring out what do we do from a policy standpoint.
You got to answer these questions, and there's going to need to be some clear legal legislation pushed forward. That way we don't fall into this kind of gray area ever again. I don't know. Is surrogacy even the right thing to do? 615-737-9986. On the way, we'll have those comments from McKenna West on why she couldn't go through with it. We'll bring that to you. You can decide, is she a hero or not? 615-737-9986. It's 1021. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Glock Store, and Force on Force training is back. It's happening this weekend, Saturday, September 19th, from 9:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. There's 2 different classes that you can jump in. Each class is going to start with a briefing on current Tennessee laws and event parameters, such as the safe word. Yes, you may need a safe word because this is intense, realistic, live-action scenarios that you're going to be thrust into to test your marksmanship and split-second decision-making skills. Everybody knows that you need to train to know how to use your firearm, but there's a key difference with the force-on-force training. When are you legally justified to use your firearm? I've done this training myself. It's more realistic than any training you could ever have. They put you into a real-world scenario, and you have to decide within a split second whether or not using your firearm is legally justified. 2 different scenarios per student, professional performance evaluation after each scenario, and evaluations are based on new Tennessee firearm laws. Only 15 slots available per session. There's even less available now. Reserve yours now before they sell out. They will sell out. Glockstore.com/FOF. That's Glockstore.com/FOF.
Up ahead here on Super Talk 99.7, we've got the results of a Nashville Commission's deep dive into the January storm response. Also, there's an accident 24 westbound to be careful of this morning. It's right at Haywood Lane. The right lane is blocked, and it's backed up in that area this morning. We've got more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. All right, so I got the audio. I fixed it from McKenna West. I think it's important that you hear from McKenna in this situation directly. What she was going through, I think it puts everything in kind of a different light. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to say better. The text line, I'm surprised the text line is split, man. The text line's like she knew what she was getting into when she signed that contract. Like, she's liable for legal damages. And then other people are saying that she is absolutely a hero. 9223 said, what quality of life is the rest of its life? They're talking about the baby. I think it's a mixed bag, right? It could be a great life, could be a hard life. I think that it's not going to come without any issues. Like, you're looking at surgery at 6 months, and then, or you're looking at surgery at like a week, 6 months, and then between 2 and 4 years old, at least. But that's not to say that life doesn't have value. So what are you going to do? Here's the comments from McKenna West, in her own words, why she refused to go through with it. You want to pull me up over on that side? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Was made. I felt so excited to be able to give a couple who had faced years of infertility just the blessing of their own baby. I felt like when the diagnosis was made and the decision to end his life was made, that it was selfish. This couple I was carrying the baby for had decided that they wanted me to terminate the pregnancy. The contract that I had gone into, I knew that not agreeing to this would lead to large financial risks. I could be responsible for paying everything back. In order for it to be done, I would have to be a willing participant. I would be the one signing the consent papers at the abortion clinic. And I didn't think that I could live with myself doing that. It was scary. Facing financial ruin was scary, but nothing was scarier than questioning my own soul and knowing what would happen to this baby boy if I flew to Seattle. His life doesn't have a price tag on it. There's nothing that they could try to come after me for that would be worth his life.
That's McKenna West. That's her own words on why she couldn't go through with it. And when you hear her talking about it, I don't know, it's hard for me not to take her side. She'd have to be a willing participant. Was it in the contract already? Absolutely. But ifs and hypotheticals, are you thinking about that when initially your goal was to help a family? Maybe she should have thought about that. Maybe if she knew that was in the contract, that being a surrogate wasn't the right choice for her. But maybe she was just trying to do the right thing. Maybe as a single mother of two, she was between a rock and a hard place, and she made a choice that she had to live with either way. It's tough. I'd love to get your input from it. 615-737-9986. Jim in the Burrows on the line. He's holding. We'll get to his call first. We'll get to your calls as well. Plus, we'll read your messages on the Super Text line when we get back. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 10:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And as a memo of understanding expires today, the Trump administration is setting the stage to shift its war campaign toward a more economic-focused effort aimed at choking Tehran into submission rather than relying on bombs alone. Here's Trey Yingst at Fox News.
And we know that naval blockade is costing the Iranian regime hundreds of millions of dollars each day. And this economic pressure, coupled with the sanctions that are expected to be announced this week by the U.S. Treasury, it's adding more domestic pressure on the regime and those officials in Tehran to change their behavior, possibly come back to the negotiating table, as a lot of rhetoric is still floating around the Middle East.
Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that the U.S. plans to ramp up economic pain on Iran, calling the new moves, saying that they will be the financial equivalent of a bombing campaign. The Nashville Commission, tagged with assessing the response to the devastating January storm, out with its first report. The commission, led by former Tennessee Governor Phil Bredesen, says there were lots of problems, concluding that Nashville's response was strong and tactical, but it does blame NES for neglecting to modify and upgrade its emergency response planning as the city grew. Nashville actress Hayden Panettiere's death on Sunday has shined a spotlight on some of her more recent revelations. 3 months ago, she spoke on a podcast about an incident aboard a boat that was out to sea. A so-called trusted friend, she said, dragged her below deck and literally put her in bed with a naked, very famous older British rock star.
So it took me, I was shocked. It took me by surprise. And it was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back.
She was 18 years old at the time. She never named the rock star or the friend. Hayden Panettiere was 36 years old when she died. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Zero Res Nashville. I talk about these guys all the time because we use them all the time. We love our friends at Zero Res. And we had another weekend out at the baseball field. The kids won some championships. And you know what comes when you win a baseball championship? A lot of dirt actually comes home. And the kids, no matter how many times we say, please take off the cleats outside, they don't. They run inside. And they run all over the carpets. And baseball dirt, well, it's hard to get out. It used to be. Now we call our friends at Zero Res. We love these guys. The Maha of carpet cleaning. They clean your carpets without harsh chemicals, no soap residue, just their exclusive ZR water system that actually gets everything out. So I never stress. My carpets are going to look insanely clean. And when they clean them, they'll dry faster and then they'll stay clean longer. And it matters if you got kids and pets like I do coming in and out of the house all day, going to baseball tournaments, bringing home red dirt. Call Zero Res. They'll help you out big time. 4,800 Google reviews, a 4.9 rating. It's not just me and my wife that are using them. Middle Tennessee loves these guys. Call or book online today. 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. Ask about their 2- and 3-room specials or book online directly. ZeroResNashville.com. Let's talk about the Democratic frontrunner for mayor of Minneapolis, shall we? His name is Omar Fateh, and he held a big rally in Minneapolis. And I don't know if you can tell by the video, but there's a stunning lack of American flags and a stunning lack of English being spoken at this rally. Now, the reason Omar is the frontrunner is because the last mayor, Jacob Fry, wasn't woke enough.
As for cooperation with ICE, the answer is no.
This is a guy who actually cried at George Floyd's golden casket. Still not woke enough. Now, the uproar online led to some great questions from one Charlie Kirk. I want to know what you think about it in the comments. Charlie says, How are these people bettering America? Does it look like these people in Minneapolis are assimilating to American culture? And then we have to ask a very important question. What is an American?
So this dude's dog wanders into the shot. And who is this guy?
So this is Hassan Piker. He's a left-wing streamer. He's very radical, Muslim, friends with Mamdani, big Mamdani supporter. And, this is just an insight to the kind of people they truly are at home. And he's on his live stream.
Yeah.
And as you said, his dog gets in the shot, won't sit down, which I understand. But at the same time, this dog is not getting in his way or anything. He is simply just circling, or as my wife would call it, nesting, trying to find that comfy spot.
Yeah.
So he shocks him.
Much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
Kind of ironic this guy is
Oh,
talking
my
about
gosh.
violence.
Yeah, right?
While he shocks his dog. His dog's literally not even doing anything. He's just, as you said, he's circling in the background.
Yeah.
The medical rights case of baby Gabriel, the case that's now in North Texas, is getting national attention. Doug Dunbar is in the newsroom with what's happened this afternoon. Doug.
Well, that's significant, Karen. The update is that baby Gabriel was born earlier today, and that is according to an attorney for the legal team that represents the surrogate. Her name is McKenna West. If you don't know the backstory, let me get you up to speed. Before the birth, the baby was diagnosed in utero with a severe birth defect. In court papers, the diagnosis is hypoplastic left heart syndrome. That is according to the Mayo Clinic, and that's when the left side of the heart is underdeveloped, typically will require almost immediate surgery after a birth. And it's now raising the issue of just who has control over making critical decisions for the baby now. And
that's kind of where we pick it up. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Is McKenna West a hero? Or did she violate a contract? Or was she wrong to even get involved in the surrogacy decision and discussion in the first place? 615-737-9986.
Baby now and going forward. Prior to the birth today, you should know that the intended parents who do live in California had indicated they wanted the surrogate at one point to have an abortion. But now the baby's been born. According to court documents, they want the baby now flown to California. According to a temporary restraining order that we've got to look over that was signed late yesterday, UT Southwestern and Children's Medical Center of Dallas will provide care when the child is born. That has clearly happened. And also as part of that order, they say the baby won't leave the hospital locally until the courts fully take up the matter. So, Karen, this could be a swift decision somehow, maybe on one side or the other, or this could be maybe a prolonged court battle back and forth. We just don't know. But baby Gabriel has been born today. We do know the commitment from both hospitals is there.
Well, praise God for that, right? I mean, the baby is alive. The baby is getting treatment. Praise God. That is after, all the discussions aside, the baby is alive. And that's awesome. That's a great part of the story. I was looking through the text line, though, and there's some great comments from you guys. You got the vast staff always knows how to weigh in. And 9495, this couple was infertile for years. And McKenna West made that point herself, saying, she thought she was doing something good. And was there some financial incentive? Absolutely. And if you think there wasn't, I mean, you're missing the point. She's a single mother of 2. Of course, there's some financial incentive. But she says she thinks that she's doing something good for these parents who are infertile. They aren't able to have their own child. And 9495 said, if by some miracle that same infertile couple had gotten pregnant themselves, found out the same diagnosis, would they have gotten an abortion? It's a great question. One that I would love to pose to those parents. We're going to take some of your calls on this. Let's go to Jim in the Borough. What's up, Jim? How are you?
Is it me? Ken. It's Ken, actually.
Oh, Ken. What's up, man? Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. I think the lady's fantastic. I think what she did is fabulous. Contract be damned. Don't care. But it is an issue for surrogates, though, to note whether in these contracts they're entering into any kind of agreement that would terminate the baby's life like that in the event of a health defect. And they should never sign such a thing. I don't know how that would conflict with, like, Tennessee state law either, because we're such a pro-life state now. Can you even do that as a surrogate or parents in the state of Tennessee? I don't know how it was allowed to happen in Texas. Nonetheless, the biggest issue is I don't even know why this is a debate. We're talking about a human being. There are all kinds of reasons why this is bad and evil. I've been doing this fight for 25 years. There are no good arguments in support of abortion on demand. They do not exist. And anybody that tells you otherwise hasn't engaged it and is not a very good critical thinker.
Amen,
brother. There are even secular organizations who are pro-life. There is a group called Democrats for Life. There is a group called PAAU Now. They're secular humanists who fight for life. A lot of these people think this has to be rooted in religion. That's utterly false. But for me, being a Christian, there is no question that any life should be protected. Babies are made in the image of God. It is the foundational ethic for why they matter, and nobody should have a right to kill a baby in utero. Babies aren't endowed with value because they're wanted. Think about that. That is the argument that people make every day. They think that what endows a baby with value is whether or not it's wanted. That is so egregious and evil. I just can't even believe people entertain it. I can't believe this is such a debate among people, but it shows where we are in our society and our culture, that these lies and these misrepresentations have been parroted for ages. There's a guy named Dr. Bernard Nathanson. He was like the founder of NARAL, one of the founders, like a co-founder back in the 60s. And he wrote a book after he repented of his involvement in the abortion movement. And he revealed how when they were first starting these things to try to get abortion on demand legalized, which ultimately set up for what happened in Roe v. Wade in 73, he revealed that they used to intentionally lie to the press because he knew that the press was on their side, and they would offer lies and misrepresentations of how many women were dying from, quote, back alley abortions.
Yep.
And all of these things, because he knew and his group knew that the press would publish it and people would run with it, and people are still parroting his same arguments 50 years later, and he repented of all of that. In his book, I think he said he was involved with over 75,000 abortions and repented of all of it and became a pro-life doctor, because when the ultrasound was invented, he could see the baby moving away from his instruments when he was trying to perform the abortion. Yep. And it changed his life forever. And he repented of that madness. So I appreciate what you're doing, Chris, bringing this subject to the forefront. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because it's hard. And let me say this before I get off of here. Any woman that has gone through this needs to know that the Lord is loving and gracious and ever forgiving.
Amen.
And he will forgive you if you've engaged in this. A lot of people have lied to women over the years, and I can't even hardly get this out. I know women who've experienced this, and it wrecked their life. And any woman who's gone through this can know that they can receive forgiveness and grace from the Lord. And their testimony in them seeking their repentance will be a powerful witness to other women to keep them from making these same mistakes. God bless you, Chris.
Amen, brother.
What you're doing,
yeah,
brother.
I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's also important to point out how much of an industry this has become. It's not just the abortion and then you're done. Then these psychopaths come in and they make money off of that aborted fetus. You understand that, right? The organs are harvested, the stem cells are harvested, and they're auctioned off to the highest bidder. It's a money-making game. It really is. Let's go to our friend Brian on the road. What do you think about McKenna West, Brian?
Yeah, man, I don't really care about McKenna now. I'm just Ken was the bomb.
Amen.
Golly. Wow, you really are surrounded by a lot of good listeners. Not myself, not included, but that guy right there, he killed me, man.
And he's right though. There's always a bridge back, you know.
100%.
And I think
this is it's complicated, but here's the thing. As a Christian, you should hold the bar up. Like I had a preacher one time. He used to say, a lot of you people are enamored with me, because he was a kind of a big-time preacher of a mega church, and he said, you stop that and you align your life with this right here, and he would hold the Bible up.
Yep.
He said, read this and do what it says. Now, no matter what, I've been a Christian about 50-something years, and that's hard to do. I can't find the answers to every little thing in there sometimes, and maybe it's my own ignorance. It probably is. But that lady, her intentions sounded right. So now my question is, the couple has the baby, right? So if they have physical possession, I guess you would call it, of their own, I guess their own legal child, not their child, but it's a child of God. They won't mistreat. Why do they want it? Why do they want it if they wanted to kill it? I mean, I would say have an abortion, but it's actually, why would you want to kill that child? That child could grow up and probably will do miraculous things. I don't want it to Google itself. I heard you say that.
I mean, but that's where my mind goes, and that's like a heartbreaking reality. Everybody Googles their own name. So you're gonna Google your name, and I mean,
okay.
And who knows if
listen,
Gabriel's the real name, but you'll Google your parents at some point down the road, and then you're gonna confront that reality, and it might not be for a decade or so down the road, but you're gonna wake up one day and you're gonna realize mom and dad didn't think that these surgeries that saved my life were worth the investment.
100%. I get that. I do get that. I mean, if you hear about the baby, that child lived, I think, and then became, they've done a story or documentary on the life, and you find out all this miraculous stuff that went on. But that baby, if it lives a long time, is going to find out about. Is her name McKenna? Did you say?
McKenna West. Yep.
Okay. Now my question too is, where there are churches, there are leaders of churches hearing this story. Where I want them to bust on the scene and say, "Hey, we'll pick up whatever it takes."
Yep.
Money wise, where your treasure is, your heart. Come on now.
Yeah, there is a give send go going on right now for McKenna West and baby Gabriel. And it's got a goal of $125,000. They've raised about $81,000 so far. And if anybody wants the link, you can just text in, and I'll send you the links. That way, it's easy to find.
Okay, well, yeah, but so what? What I want to know is somebody take up make life comfortable for her. She needs to be uplifted and edified through this. I mean, you had two other guys call in, Tony and Jeff. Them dudes are smart. They have their hearts. Ken tops it all today, though, bro. If he's still listening, man, you hit me right square between the eyes of the heart.
Amen.
And I appreciate that phone call. So
me too.
It's a tough one, bro. It's a tough one, and I appreciate you tackling it.
Well, I appreciate you listening, Brian. Thanks for the call. We got time for a couple more calls. Let's go to Mike in Franklin. What's up, Mike?
Hey, good morning. Thank you, and I'll be quick. Two things. One is the Bible says to render under Caesar what is Caesar's. and render unto the Lord what's the Lord's. I'm paraphrasing, but it's in there. Jesus spoke that. The contract itself is Caesar's, but the baby is God's, and that will override a contract, in my opinion. Last thing I'll say is Mr. and Mrs. Tebow were told the similar things about aborting Tim Tebow in the Philippines before he was born due to difficulties. Now look what he's turned out to be in this world. That's all I got to say.
There's and you're right, and there's so many stories like that where doctors will tell you that, and I've heard them. Doctors tell you this is tough. It's not going to be good. It's going to be a hard road. It's probably easier to terminate. And then the parents will push through, and what you tell me what it is. Is it through a mistake of the doctor, or is it through the power of prayer and the Lord? But that baby's born, and that baby's perfectly healthy. And there's a lot of cases like that. There really is. I also got a text here from Charlie, and 5536. He said, I was born with heart problems, and I had open heart surgery when I was 3 years old. That was in 1986. And I had a great childhood. Fast forward at 38, I had open heart surgery again. That was 5 years ago. It's not fun, but far from the worst thing I could have had. I'll have another heart surgery, but I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad that baby was born, and I think she was a hero to have saved that baby. If you want to continue the conversation, you're welcome to call in. If not, we can move on. I got a lot more to get to. It's a busy day. I do think that this is a powerful, powerful story, and I think that McKenna West did the right thing. Maybe not legally, but sometimes the right thing is breaking those contracts and breaking the law, I guess. I'm in full support of McKenna West. And I'm praying for baby Gabriel. If we got prayer warriors in the audience, that's an area where you can lean in as well. And again, if you wanted to financially help, if you wanted to get the Give, Send, Go link, I'll tweet it out at Chris Hand on Air on X, or you can text into the super text line, and I'll send you the link directly. It's 10:52. We got a lot more to get to here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt, we appreciate you.
Up ahead, President Trump comes to the end of the road on one of his court appeals, and it's costing him bigly. We've got that story at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. It is 10:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I appreciate all the texts, all the calls. We have the best listeners in the entire country, and your willingness to engage on topics like McKenna West's story. It really does make the show a better experience for everyone. So shout out to Ken, who called in earlier as well. Numerous text messages being like, dude, Ken, thank you for what you were saying. We are going to pivot. We're going to talk about some more news that's been going on. And in this segment, we'll talk about the midterms on the way. What do you get when you elect Democrats? Well, if you've been paying attention to the headlines in the past few weeks, you get individuals that, well, they push for abortion on demand up to the moment of birth in Governor Malik Healey's case in Massachusetts. Now, you also get a lot of individuals that break the law. Democrat crime stories from just the past week. Are you ready for this? New Mexico House Leader Cheryl Williams Stapleton was convicted for diverting public education funds to her friends and getting kickbacks. Massachusetts Mayor, the guy that can't speak English, Lawrence, Massachusetts, Brian DePena, he got charged for stealing COVID relief funds. New Jersey Councilwoman Gina LaPlaca was charged for faking signatures to qualify for the ballot. Georgia State Rep Sharon Henderson pleaded guilty to stealing COVID funds. Missouri City Executive Philip Lavoda was indicted on a bribery charge, and the Vice Mayor of Columbus, Mississippi, Joseph Mickens, was charged for rigging a city contract bid to be awarded to his own company. The party of fraud and corruption, yet some people will still vote blue no matter who. We got some comments on the way. We'll discuss every single one of those crime stories. And then we'll bring you some comments from Speaker Mike Johnson and the guy that would love to be Speaker, Hakeem Jeffries, on what's at stake in the upcoming midterm elections. It's 11 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 11 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It has been 60 days since the U.S. and Iran signed a memorandum of understanding that was billed as the first step to wind down the war in Iran. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
This 60-day window was meant to be the period where the two countries were going to get at that nuclear issue. They never even got to that stage. The memo of understanding fell apart. The president declared it dead, and they are still haggling over control and reopening the critical waterway of the Strait of Hormuz.
Now, President Trump is also issuing fresh threats on the Gulf nation of Oman as Oman and Iran discuss plans to patrol the Strait of Hormuz. An 18-year-old is under arrest after a shooting in Lexington, Kentucky over the weekend. Demetrius Griffin is being held without bond. He is accused of killing one person and injuring four others during summer festivities at a downtown park on Saturday night. The one death was a 16-year-old. Here's the Lexington police chief.
And this is very sad. Very sad. Somebody lost their life. And I know people are looking and reaching for somebody to blame or something to blame. But the bottom line is, if we want to overcome these type of things, it has to be a community effort. Everybody has to be involved. Not just when something like this happens and after something like this happens, but before something like this happens.
Mayor Linda Gordon is asking the community to pray for the wounded. The family of Riley Strain will continue their legal fight. The wrongful death lawsuit against Strain's fraternity was dismissed last month, the judge saying the frat didn't have a legal duty. Well, Strain drowned in the Cumberland River, as you'll remember, in Nashville after a night of drinking downtown. His death was ruled accidental. Meantime, News 2's Jaxie Pigeon reporting on Nashville's efforts to protect others from the same fate.
Meanwhile, more than 2 years after his death, the permanent fencing promised along the riverfront still is not up. The fire department previously said underground electrical lines, conduits, Fiber optics and cameras had to be installed first, with the fence expected by the end of this year. We reached out for an update on the meeting between Councilmember Jacob Coupin and the Nashville Fire Department about that fencing. We have not yet heard back.
And finally, this morning, President Trump has run out of appeals to the Supreme Court in the E. Jean Carroll case.
This is where the $5 million judgment against President Trump and the case brought against him by writer E. Jean Carroll comes to an end. The money has already been paid, but the president will get no further appeals as the justices declined to rehear the case they'd already denied to hear once. The president's petition in the first E. Jean Carroll suit, however, the one worth $83 million, alleging defamation, is still pending. In that appeal, Trump is alleging he is immune from prosecution from the comments he made about Carroll because they were made in an official capacity. And as president, he cannot be held liable for them. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
That's the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Opinion-driven. Government is not the solution to our problem. The Chris Hand Show. Government is the problem. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We are, less than 3 months away from the midterm elections? It's crazy. Time flies when you're just being pissed off by liberals every day. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water, LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. The vote blue no matter who crowd, they know how to pick them. We talked about this a second ago, but in the last week, this is what we've gotten from Democrats. Are you ready? New Mexico House Leader Cheryl Williams Stapleton was convicted for diverting public education funds to her friends and getting kickbacks. Massachusetts Mayor, the non-English speaking Brian DePena, was charged for stealing COVID-era relief funds. The guy couldn't take the time to learn the language in the country. So what would make you think he would learn the laws? New Jersey Councilwoman Gina LaPlaca was charged for faking signatures to qualify for the ballot. Georgia State Rep Sharon Henderson pleaded guilty to stealing COVID funds. Missouri City Executive Philip Lavoda indicted on bribery charge. And the former vice mayor of Columbus, Mississippi, Joseph Mickens, was charged for rigging a city contract bid to be awarded to his own company. Let's go through each of these. New Mexico House Leader Cheryl Williams Stapleton. She was convicted. She was the former New Mexico House Majority Leader, a Democrat, and former Albuquerque Public Schools Career and Technical Education Director. A federal jury convicted her and her co-defendant, Joseph Johnson, on all counts, 37 to be precise, including bribery, mail fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and related charges. She used her position at the Albuquerque Public Schools to steer $3.25 million, mostly federal Perkins education funds, to her co-defendant Johnson's company, Robotics Management Learning Systems, between 2013 and 2021. In return, she received $1.15 million in kickbacks via blank checks written to her businesses, including a restaurant, a nonprofit they controlled, and personal benefits like home renovations. She was convicted on August 14th. This is local news following her out of the courtroom.
Former New Mexico lawmaker Cheryl Williams Stapleton walked out of federal court Friday morning after being convicted of money laundering, bribery, and mail fraud. Guilty on all 37 federal charges. Do you owe an apology to the public? Stapleton not responding to questions.
Weird. She wouldn't respond to questions. So you're going to notice a recurring theme with some of these Democrats. You might ask, why was she allowed to walk out of the courtroom? She is going to remain free pending sentencing because the federal judge determined she and her co-defendant were not flight risks or dangers to the community. Standard in many non-violent white-collar cases. But she's got 37 felonies on her. She's probably going away for a while. Let's move on. Massachusetts Mayor Brian DePena. You remember Brian DePena. We actually covered this guy a lot because during his acceptance speech when he won his re-election bid to be the mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts, he wanted to prove to everybody that he could speak English.
I don't speak perfect English. When I knock in door, never I promise to my constituency. I speak perfect English.
What did you promise? Who did you promise?
Constituency.
Oh, got it.
I speak perfect English.
It's perfect.
But I make one promise. I move education forward.
That was the only promise he made. It's the one promise. He also did not promise to not steal a ton of money. And that's what he's been charged with. Wire fraud and money laundering. Allegedly, Mayor Brian DePena obtained over $1.5 to $1.65 million in COVID-era economic injury disaster loans for his tire businesses, Tenaris Tire Services. He then used those funds to pay off personal tax debt. He used it to fund his mayoral campaign. Yes, stolen money to fund his mayoral campaign, about $90,000 worth, $42,000 to $90,000 they're saying, and paying off $883,000 in high-interest mortgages on property he owns. They say very little of the loan was repaid. He was arrested on the 14th. So what was that? That was Friday? He was arrested on Friday? This is wild. As he's walking out, right? A reporter asked them for comment. This is WCVB in Massachusetts. And, he promises consistency that even though he doesn't speak perfect English, that he would fight for them, right? He would move education forward. But as he's walking out of court, he's walking out of court, he's walking out of the jail cell, whatever he's walking out of. He's walking out and he's confronted by the media there in Massachusetts. His handler, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, it's this guy with these Joe Biden aviators and a beard. He looks like a parallel universe of me, if we're being honest. A little bit heavier. But he looks at the camera and he says, why are you asking him questions? He doesn't speak English.
Hi, guys.
Do you have any comment to the city?
Hi, guys. Hey, guys. Hi, guys.
How are you, Mr. Mayor?
Excuse me. What's your comment,
I don't want
sir? Just relax. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
We're just...
God bless you.
Sure. Do you think...
You want to say anything? Speak English.
Did you hear that part? He doesn't speak English. No comment. You're the mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts. What do you mean you don't speak English? He doesn't speak English. No comment.
Sure. Do you think he doesn't speak English? No comment. Are you innocent?
He doesn't speak English. No comment. I thought he spoke fine English. I thought he did. I thought he does pretty good, right? He couldn't say he's innocent.
I don't speak perfect English.
He doesn't speak any English, according to his handlers.
When I knock in door, never I promise to my constituency.
To what? To who?
To my constituency. I speak perfect English.
Nailed it. All right. We'll follow that case. He's probably going away for a while. New Jersey councilwoman Gina LaPlaca. She was the Lumberton Township Committee woman, former mayor, also a Democrat. Her husband, Jason Carty, has also been charged. Charged with making a false statement under oath, knowingly filing a false petition, tampering with public records, and related offenses. Here's the details. She allegedly submitted a nominating petition for the June 2026 Democratic primary that contained forged and unauthorized signatures. She signed an affidavit claiming she personally circulated it and that all signatures were genuine. Without the disputed signatures, she would not have qualified for the ballot. She did lose that primary, but she was charged last week between the 10th and the 11th, according to the Burlington County's prosecutor's office. She has a court appearance scheduled for September 21st. This is also the same New Jersey councilwoman who was involved and pleaded guilty to a DUI with her kid in the back seat. Yikes. She thought she could come back from that. Apparently the voters didn't think so she forged the petition.
A township is facing charges after police say she was driving under the influence with her 2-year-old in the car. Police say she was driving erratically and an open container of alcohol, they say, was in the vehicle. Tonight, her family is asking for grace, saying she needs help.
Well, apparently they didn't get her the help she needed. Georgia State Rep Sharon Henderson pleaded guilty. She was pleading guilty to making false statements related to pandemic unemployment fraud. She fraudulently obtained over $17,000 in COVID unemployment benefits. She claimed she was laid off from Henry County schools due to COVID, but she'd only worked 5 days as a substitute teacher and she was ineligible. She continued submitting false weekly claims even while serving as a state representative. These people think they're above the law. This is what you get when you vote in Democrats. She entered the guilty plea. Sentencing is set for November 3rd, 2026. Third Georgia Democrat lawmaker convicted in similar COVID-era unemployment schemes. She was indicted back in December, and she was indicted for stealing those pandemic-era relief funds, claiming that she was unemployed, even though she didn't meet any of the qualifications. Here's the reporting from back in December. This woman, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, I'm not the only one who thinks she looks crazy, right? It's not just me.
Indicted for fraud. We're learning more about this Georgia lawmaker. She is accused of illegally collecting pandemic benefits, and you're taking a look at Sharon Henderson. Federal investigators arrested her today. They say she collected nearly $18,000 in unemployment benefits using false information. Federal prosecutors say this happened while Henderson was a political candidate and later while serving in office. They believe she first applied for pandemic unemployment benefits in June 2020. At the time, she was running for a state house seat and claimed she was unemployed because Henry County schools had closed. Prosecutors say that information was false. They say she'd not worked for the school system since briefly serving as a substitute teacher in 2018, and that her employment agreement specifically said substitutes were not eligible for unemployment pay.
You know, only the highest moral character individuals rise to these echelons of success inside the Democrat Party. We got another Democrat fraudster exposed. This was the Missouri City Executive Philip Lavoda. He has a federal indictment. He's been indicted. He has a federal indictment on 5 counts: honest services fraud, federal program bribery, 2 Travel Act violations, and making false statements. This is local news breaking down this Democrat's charges.
This evening, he's facing federal bribery charges after being indicted by a grand jury. Good evening, everybody. I'm Chris Kitts.
And I'm Kelly Eckerman. Laura has the night off. This is just the latest bombshell to hit a county government already facing a string of corruption allegations. KMBC 9's Beth Carlson is live now outside the Jackson County Courthouse downtown. Beth, what does the indictment allege and how is Lavota responding?
Well, Kelly, Chris, the federal officials indicted Lavota on 5 charges, and those include service fraud, alleged bribery, and making a false statement to law enforcement. That indictment claims that Lavota offered up a government position and salary in exchange for a candidate to drop out of the 2026 county executive race. So this afternoon, Lavota denied those claims, and he named the individual that is making these allegations as the District 4 legislator here in Jackson County, Deron McGee. Now, the indictment claims that Lavota negotiated for this candidate to receive a position as a Jackson County Director of Parks and Rec and a $65,000 salary. In exchange, the individual claims Lavota wanted them to drop out of the Jackson County executive race. These conversations allegedly happened in March of this year, while Lavota was already interim county executive.
It's crazy. We'll give you a position. They said $65,000 there. My research said that the position was $165,000 salary plus another position for an associate to that rival candidate in exchange for dropping out of the race. That indictment was unsealed last week. He pleaded not guilty. We'll follow that case as well. And then my final Democrat that has been busted in just the last week was the vice mayor of Columbus, Mississippi, Joseph Mickens. He was charged and he was indicted on charges including laundering a monetary instrument and offering inducements to influence the award of contract, plus related conspiracy counts with co-defendant. He allegedly rigged city flooring contract bids so his own flooring company could effectively receive the work via a co-conspirator by the name of Marcus Dawson and his company as a front. They received payments, $11,500 cited in one report with specific checks like $5,000 that were allegedly laundered. The scheme involved city projects such as Townsend Community Center and the city garage. They were arrested and indicted late last week. Mississippi State Auditor's Office investigation and Loudon County grand jury. He bonded out and he faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted on the top charges, which I hope he is convicted. This is ex-Columbus Democrat Vice Mayor Joseph Mickens, indicted for rigging city bids to help his own business.
A former Columbus councilman is arrested in connection to money laundering. Joseph Mickens, who represented Ward 2, is charged with laundering a monetary instrument and offer of inducements to influence an award of contracts. He remains in custody at the Adult Detention Center. A co-defendant, private contractor Marcus Trent Dawson Sr., was also indicted in connection to the case.
I mean, it paints a bigger picture about the current state of the Democrat Party. When these are the people that they're electing into these positions, this is what you get when you vote blue no matter who. This is just in the last week. Imagine how much more corruption is going on underneath the surface. Yet here we are, and we're looking at the midterms, and there are going to be people that vote blue no matter who. Mike Johnson feels pretty confident that we could maintain the majority in the House and in the Senate. I wouldn't count all our chickens before our eggs hatch, but he says he's noticing a surge in MAGA and GOP voter energy ahead of the midterms because the Democrats are being the Democrats. And while you see all the corruption being unearthed, you're also seeing them move straight towards communism in the public square. And a lot of voters are reacting towards that negatively and running away from it.
I made a pit stop here in my hometown. I'm in the middle of a 30-day nonstop campaign tour going to 18 states and across 34 districts in August. And everywhere I'm going, Kaylee, from coast to coast, north to south, east to west, we're seeing the energy of people because they understand the stakes are so high in this midterm. It's less than 80 days away now, and it's going to be a fateful one for the country. And this is a contrast election. I was on the phone with Newt Gingrich 6 months months ago. We talk all the time, but he has a way of crystallizing things, as you know. And he said, Mike, this isn't a contract with America year. This is a contrast for America. And in short summary, it's a contrast between common sense and crazy. So we've just launched a new website. I'm going to debut it on your program this morning. But if you go to contrastforamerica.com, we lay all this out. We really have an education component to what we're doing on the campaign trail right now because, sadly, young people have not been taught the truth about socialism and communism. It's a dangerous road, and this is one of our efforts to make sure people know that.
I mean, you absolutely have to educate young people about the dangers of socialism and communism. I also think that you need to highlight these stories about Democrat lawmakers and leaders being busted for just absolute law breaking. And you know what? Let's also be honest. There's going to be some Republicans that do these same kinds of things, and we need to deal with them accordingly as well. But on the socialist communism front, there's one party really monopolizing that conversation, and they're already here.
Right, and of course it's Marxism, right? So Karl Marx believed, and he taught and said, socialism is a step towards communism. It's a process. They thought communism would be the utopia, the perfect society, but it begins with the wrong premise. Communism is anti-American. It's the opposite of our ideals. We're one nation under God. Communism begins with the premise that there is no God. The state is the God, effectively. And so on the website, what we do is we show a summary of the history of this, going back beginning 1918 to Soviet Russia and going through history of the 20th century to communist China, ending in Venezuela with the Eastern Bloc over in Europe. It never works, and it ends in poverty, destruction, political violence, human suffering. That is the story of communism. So when you go out on the campaign trail and you promise free stuff to people, young people, that's a siren song to them. That sounds great to them. No one is telling them they have to give up their freedom in exchange. So this election really does draw a contrast in a sharp way for the American people. If somebody had told us 10 years ago, Kaylee, that on the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of the world, we would be debating whether or not we would maintain the constitutional republic or go down this dark, dangerous, deadly road to communism, you and I would have argued with them and said that's not possible.
But it is, and here we are. There's no such thing as halfway socialists. You understand that, right? It's full-blown, and it's always a step away from communism, which is the final goal. We got a lot more on the way. Lightning round on deck. It's 11:24 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Times are tough. Absolutely, I agree. Now, if you need a new truck or a minivan, maybe an SUV, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection, terrific pricing as well. Mid-10 Ford, they've been around for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. They can help you save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Now, Mid-10 Ford, I like to say that they're a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there at Mid-10 Ford. You can get it serviced. They have a body shop as well. So you want a brand new or a pre-owned vehicle, you can check out all of the great deals at their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. They offer low-pressure sales, maximum customer service if you show up at their business, 1319 Foster Avenue. This is a family-owned business going back 4 generations. So, yeah, they do know how to treat customers. So let them help you get into your next vehicle. Again, low-pressure sales, maximum customer service. Find them online, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. Let their family take care of your family.
Heat advisory remains in effect, but relief could be on the way. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell's Winter Storm Response Commission releases a new report on January's ice storm. These stories and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Mason Fleming is producing. If I was a betting man, and this is no reflection on character.
Uh-oh.
What? I'm just saying. I have a story in the lightning round that has to do with gooners. And I would just say, if I was a betting man, I would think that Mason may know the term, but Ken Weaver may not.
I know the term from people trying to criticize my favorite college football team.
Oh.
He does work with Jackson. You got to know this.
The Oklahoma Gooners?
Yes.
But do you know, like, the Urban Dictionary?
I do not.
Mason, do you?
I unfortunately do.
Well, there's an epidemic of gooners going on in California. And I have a news story that we're going to play in the lightning round. You can hit the lightning. It's fine. It's early, but you can do it. So I got this story in the lightning round where they're like, it's local California reporting, and they're like, well, this is happening at Dollar Trees all over. This is a Dollar Tree issue. And I'm like, no, my friend. This is a California issue. Because if this happened at a Dollar Tree in Tennessee, there'd be a lot more to clean up. Because anyways, I'd start blasting. We're
Get him out. Throw him out into the coat. Don't give him their coat. No coat.
That would be the moderate solution. We'll tell you what these gooners are doing in California after the news with Ken Weaver, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Heat advisory with feels like temperatures above 105 degrees through 7 o'clock tonight. But some of us could get some relief before then. We have a low-level threat of severe weather for Middle Tennessee, which could bring down those temperatures. Timeline for damaging winds and heavy rain is between 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock tonight. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Nashville's Winter Storm Response Commission has released an interim report on January's deadly ice storm. This is the commission that Mayor Freddie O'Connell put together. And this initial report says the city's Office of Emergency Management performed well overall, but lacked clear planning and communication systems.
Nope.
Commissioners are recommending an outside review of the agency's structure, staffing, and funding. The report also criticizes Nashville Electric Service, citing outdated technology, poor customer communication, and delays in bringing in outside crews. Now, this is just the interim report. We expect a final report in February. It's been 60 days since the U.S. and Iran signed a memorandum of understanding that was billed as the first step to wind down the war in Iran and renegotiate a deal regarding Iran's nuclear program. No progress has been made, with both sides trading attacks on the other in recent weeks. President Trump also issuing fresh threats on the Gulf nation of Oman as Oman and Iran discuss plans to patrol the Strait of Hormuz. We get more from ABC's Karen Travers.
Iran has said today that they are getting close to a final agreement where those two countries would figure out a way to manage the Strait of Hormuz. The administration, of course, has maintained that this can be under control of no country, despite the president in recent days saying the United States controls it and even suggesting that he would try to make it a U.S. territory. He did not, of course, explain how he would do that, and Iran pushed back very strongly, saying this is in Iranian hands.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Once again, letting you know that they have my personal seal of approval on what they're doing underneath that roof over at the Wellness Institute. Let's talk about Dr. Mitchell and the tech that he's bringing to the table, including the incredible Medical Bay 1. Picture this. You relax in what feels like an Artemis medical-style spaceship while it massages you, hits you with full-body red and near-infrared lasers, and uses photon wavelengths to stimulate your stem cells to regenerate your tissue, your cells lighting up because that's how God made them to respond. About half your visit is going to be soaking up that next-level healing. The other half, well, it's more powerful tech from Dr. Mitchell, like their powerful non-surgical spinal decompression. What they're not going to offer there or push on you, like some edgy, pushy doctor, would be surgery, painful injections, or opioids. Not their style. They want to get you back to a pain-free life without any of those, and right now they're offering the Epic Spinal Special, $33 off each visit of that non-surgical spinal decompression. Pick up the phone and open up the browser or call them today. Painisbad.com, that's painisbad.com, or 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com or 615-246-5009.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
"37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I was just in the back explaining to young Mason the origin of the "anyways I started blasting" meme. Frank from Always Sunny. You've never seen that before?
I've not seen that clip. I also am not that far into Always Sunny.
I've never
watched Always Sunny all the way through.
Really?
I know that's hard to believe, but
it's a funny show.
It is really funny. All the clips that I've watched, so good.
Well, and I was trying to explain it to my wife, and she's like, "This show is just a bunch of people yelling at each other."
Yeah.
And I said, but if you come to the realization that they're hammered drunk the entire time, it makes a lot more sense. And she was like, "That doesn't make me want to watch it anymore." So I was like, "Well, that's your loss, not mine." You know?
I think Charlie's worth the watch alone.
Yes.
Every time I go back to watching the show, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why.
So, hold on. Should I just play this on the air? Get the dump button ready.
Well.
Get the dump button ready because I don't know. He might say the SH word.
I think he does a little bit.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Get the dump buddy.
I'm ready.
That's your job.
Good morning, Philadelphia. With us today is Frank Reynolds, local business owner and a man with a harrowing story.
That's right. A few days ago, 3 thugs tried to mug me. Now, I want to be very clear about something. These pieces of garbage, they don't know who the hell they're dealing with.
Excuse me. Do you think maybe you could eat that sandwich later?
I'm starving. Yeah, there's nothing to eat in this show.
Let's get back to
Right, so these punks,
Yes.
I don't know if they wanted money or they wanted something more sexual. But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot them in the back. But I don't run so good either. Anyway, you guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
So willing to accept it.
You think I'm a hero? I respect that responsibility. That's fine. But that's why that's the meme. And that's the meme we chose to highlight our first story in the lightning round, which starts right now.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
I mean, I would definitely file this one under anyways I started blasting. I would. Would you file this story under anyways I started blasting?
Oh, absolutely.
This is out of California. NBC San Diego, which I believe is Spanish for Pirates of the Day. I believe. Something like that.
It's close.
Something like that. And I think that the local news out there in California wanted to blame Dollar Tree, not the policies that led them to this point. So anyways, here's what's going on in California.
The alleged perverted act that happened right here at this Dollar Tree behind me really shattered her sense of safety. The lawsuit that she has filed claims that these acts aren't only happening here at this Dollar Tree on Claremont Mesa, but also at Dollar Trees all across the country because the company is supposedly skimping on safety measures. Dollar Tree is home to discounted goods, but according to reports around the country and this lawsuit filed, it's become a place where attorneys say deeply disturbed men are involved in gooning, where they ejaculate or wipe their semen on women.
Anyways, I start.
Good grief.
Right? Now, here's the thing. They're going to blame Dollar Tree for a lack of security, not the fact that California allows crazy people to be running around their streets.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you. I haven't heard about any of this at a Dollar Tree in Tennessee, only California. And we got a lot of Dollar Trees. They're gooning. The gooners.
It's around the country, and this lawsuit filed, it's become a place where attorneys say deeply disturbed men are involved in gooning, where they ejaculate or wipe their semen on women.
Disgusting.
At this Claremont Dollar Tree, according to this civil suit, during about a week's time starting March 1st of last year, the same man sexually assaulted 3 different women at the store on Claremont Mesa Boulevard.
The same guy gets 3 women at the same store, and they're going to blame the store, not the lack of policing? Or was this guy arrested and then released because it's California?
That's what I'm going with.
Right?
That's what I would bet on.
How do you blame Dollar Tree for this?
It's like, what is wrong with people?
The Marine Corps says it's aware of the allegations against one of its Marines, but San Diego police are handling the case since it was off base.
She kind of noticed the presence of somebody behind her and felt him wipe something on her, and she realized it was semen.
Attorney Alreen Hayquest represents one of the women accosted at the Claremont location, who's only identified in the suit as Jane Doe. In addition to the Claremont incidents, the Union Tribune reporting the sheriff's office says 2 other assaults happened this year at Dollar Trees in Lemon Grove and Spring Valley. No one was caught.
I just feel like that's legal use of force, right? Lethal force at that point. Is that legally justified? I feel like it would be. maybe I'd find myself in a bit of trouble, a little bit of legal hot water there.
Just a little bit.
But I feel like I would ask for forgiveness in that case, not permission.
Man.
What's right? And also, like, where are the men in this country? Like, there had to be some men in that store. And when you see that happen, why don't you just beat the brakes off of this guy with anything that's not nailed down? Grab a fire extinguisher if you have to. Like, I would lose my ever-loving mind. If I was in any store and that happened to a woman, you can bet your arse that rules are out the window at that point, right? We're going to fight that guy. We're all going to fight him. He's never going to make that mistake again. But this is California. So, it's obviously Dollar Tree's fault. Obviously.
In the suit, Jane Doe says when she told a clerk about what happened to her at the Claremont store, she was told the camera in the aisle wasn't working.
Dollar Tree just is not staffing the people there, and because in order to cut cost, they don't have operable cameras, so they're not taking security footage, and it's become a breeding ground for these sexual assaults to occur.
A company spokesperson issued a statement saying, in part, the safety and security of our associates and customers are our highest priorities. Dollar Tree is committed to having effective safety and security programs. The suit claims at least 11 women across the country have reported being assaulted in similar ways while shopping at Dollar Tree locations. Attorney Hayquist says videos of the incidents are posted on porn sites and social media.
And this is a phenomenon happening across the country, so much so that there's a crypto coin for the Dollar Tree Gooner. There's a Pokemon card for the Dollar Tree Gooner. There's a soundtrack for this conduct.
Oh my God, that is so sick.
Dollar Tree shoppers repulsed by the allegations of what happened at their Claremont store that they still consider safe.
Staff is very friendly and engaging.
But thankful that someone's been caught.
It's crazy. Just sick.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, or just, I don't know, somebody should just beat the brakes off those people. Like, I'm not like a huge fan of mob justice, but in certain cases,
yeah,
I feel like it's apropos, you know?
Yeah.
That would be one of those cases. Also, I don't buy it's Dollar Tree's fault.
Yeah, that's so ridiculous.
All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. We're gonna stick with the People's Republic of California for a minute because California Democrats are moving to pass a law that lets criminals loose if they commit a crime of necessity. I don't know if that would include gooning, but it is California after all.
New bill that could give thieves a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now, it would create expanded diversion programs for offenses they consider crimes of necessity. But what exactly is a crime of necessity?
The amendments make it clear that this policy only applies to low-level theft crimes, no felonies, and codifies case law. And while we have diversion programs for drugs and mental health, we do not have the same for crimes of necessity led by poverty.
Joining us now, a man who's fighting back against this new bill, California State Assemblyman Carl DeMaio. Carl DeMaio, thank you for being here. What is a crime of necessity?
Well, basically, the Democrats say that if you're poor, that forces you to go out and rob a store. Now,
they've watched a little bit too much Les Mis, you know? You're stealing some bread to feed your family, obviously.
Let me be very clear. No one is robbing stores for food, bread, eggs, milk, or butter. They're stealing Nikes and PlayStations. Let's be very clear about what crimes and what criminals they're trying to protect with these diversion programs.
Well, to be fair, ball is life, you know? If you just want to, if all you do is ball, that's a lifestyle. Them shoes might be a necessity. If you're in that gamer lifestyle, you know, that PS5 really might be calling your name as a necessity.
More offensively, when this bill was brought up, the author of the bill and the Democrats said Donald Trump is responsible for the crime wave. Because of H.R. 1, the big, beautiful bill, people will be going hungry, which is not true. The big, beautiful bill is all about cracking down on fraud and protecting taxpayer money. People who need help will continue to get help. But they said Donald Trump's going to cause a crime wave, and so we need to make sure when people do commit crimes because of necessity, because they're poor, that they not be put in jail. Voters in California overwhelmingly rejected this coddle the criminal nonsense last year in Prop 36, and they said we want to punish criminals because we cannot have a crime wave impacting.
I would say, yeah, it's obviously Donald Trump's fault. You know, and I would probably say the Gooners is Trump's fault too. Anything bad in the world that may or may not happen to you, in and around you, it's got to be Trump's fault, right? I think that's safe. That's a safe assumption. Got another server here in the lightning round?
No!
That was a slip.
You slipped?
It was just an accident there.
Why did you slip?
Another one. I don't know.
All right. Kansas City schools are requiring students to lock their phones in dedicated phone lockers after the state banned cell phones at school. I think this is pretty cool.
I think that's a good idea.
Except there was something I noticed in the video. So it's like, you ever see like the charging stations at like concerts or festivals where like you can lock it in, you get the key?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the pool locker at a water park, right? So it's like one of those.
Okay, don't lose it. Let's go. Next one up, please. Por favor, quien sigue. Get yourself in line after you deposit your phone.
Anybody notice what I noticed? Let's rewind the tape a little bit.
Por favor, quien sigue.
Por favor, consigue. Por favor, consigue.
Please, por favor, quien sigue.
What do you think is more detrimental to kids in a school? Is it competing languages or is it cell phones?
Get yourself in line after you deposit your phone.
I didn't realize Kansas had that high of a population of Hispanics. Maybe I was wrong. Is that weird that was the first thing I noticed? I was watching the video and I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Kids shouldn't have cell phones in classrooms. I think that's a no-brainer. But I really got hung up on the por favor consigue.
Por favor, quien sigue.
Is that wrong of me? Maybe I'm sorry. I thought this was America. I got another story right here in the lightning round. This one, you're going to have the benefit if you're watching on Super Talk TV over on YouTube or Rumble. So you ever hear Ken when he's doing the weather, and it's like we got the extreme weather, and he's like, listen, if a roadway's flooded, turn around, right? Don't try and drive through it.
Yeah.
Well, if you were on a bicycle, you should follow the same protocol, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. A 20-year-old female cyclist tried to cross a flooded bridge in Arizona. It's currently monsoon season in Arizona. Have you seen this video?
I have not.
Okay, so the bridge is like real flooded, and the dude that she's with has no problem crossing. She gets about halfway, at which point she is trapped underwater, sucked into a tunnel, and ejected 100 feet down the stream.
Whoa.
Watch this.
So here's the water in
she's
the
stuck, and
you can see it's kind of deep.
It's kind of deep. Now she's like up to her waist.
Yeah, so easy to get yourself in a little bit of trouble.
And she needs help. Like, she already needs help, but everybody's kind of just watching her. And her husband, her boyfriend, walks back. And then she starts to get sucked under into this tunnel. And now all you can see is the helmet above the water. Other cyclists move in to try and rescue this woman.
Yeah, she's in the hole.
Nobody can get her. Nobody can. There's now like 3 people trying to pull her out of this tunnel as the rushing water is pushing her down the tunnel. And she's just getting sucked in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people trying to get her out. She is completely submerged at this point. And they can't get her out. They just can't. Now, the video continues for like another minute and a half. She is completely submerged. Only seeing the helmet until, whink, she's gone. And that's when the dude recording decided maybe I should help. Probably should have put the phone down and helped a long time ago. Like, this guy recorded the entire thing. It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
He's got his weird priorities.
The woman who was sucked into that tunnel and eventually ejected 100 feet downstream. She lived. They gave her CPR. She's good. She's okay. But it's like, you wonder, would it have been better off to just let her go in the beginning? I know you don't. It's like the fear of the unknown, right? Like, where's she going to go? But it probably would have been better if they just let her go. She was sucked into the tunnel, ejected 100 feet downstream. She lived. But yeah, if you see flooding roadways, if you wouldn't do it in a car, don't do it with a bike. It's 11:55. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. And if you need a safe, well, you got a place where you can get one with a great guy that you can absolutely trust. This is a Christian-owned, family-run, veteran-owned business, Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. We all have valuables inside our homes. Some of them look different than others. Maybe it's a firearm collection. Maybe it's a guitar collection. Maybe it's precious metals. Maybe it's just some family heirlooms and photo albums. But whatever it is that you wouldn't want to lose in a burglary or in a fire, you need to protect it. You don't want to protect it with a filing cabinet that can be tipped over and pried open by a teenager. You want to protect it with a real safe, and that's the only kind of safe they sell at Parker Safes and Vaults. Now, they sell some serious brands designed for serious protection. Liberty, American Security, Rhino, Heyman, Incus, Holland, Graf Under, and more. And they specialize in the right safe for the right customer. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a safe, Parkers are the people to call. 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. Don't leave it up to chance. Leave it up to real protection. ParkerSafes.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well. Good. We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, like 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt,
All
we
right.
appreciate you.